After returning to school during the National Day holiday, I brought a box of local specialties from home. Before leaving, I specifically reminded my roommate Qiu Min, "You'll be allergic to this beef jerky. Don't steal it and eat it." Qiu Min thought I was stingy and said in a sarcastic tone, "Just a few pieces of beef jerky. What's so great about it? You won't let us eat it, but we'll eat it anyway." Qiu Min ate the beef jerky despite the dissuasion, and ended up being hospitalized for emergency treatment due to an allergy. She actually asked me for a compensation of 2 million yuan. I firmly refused, but she maliciously smeared me to the media, saying that I had put poison in the beef jerky. I took out the silent live stream video I had taken at that time, and held it up to her face, saying, "You really like to wrong people, don't you?" She asked for 2 million yuan with an air of righteousness. I suppressed my anger and explained, "I said in advance that people allergic to chili peppers shouldn't eat it." She replied brazenly, "I don't care. You have to pay this money today." I retorted angrily, "Don't slander me. Each piece of this beef jerky is individually packaged. I haven't even opened the packaging." She ignored the drip, stretched her neck, and argued with me, shouting, "You still want me to pay? Do you have any shame?" I didn't want to pay attention to her anymore and turned to leave, but she threatened me from behind. "Fine, you won't pay, right? This isn't over." That night, I received the cordial greetings from her 3 brothers. On the way home after evening self-study, her 3 brothers stopped me at the school gate. They shouted loudly, "Are you Ren Yan? Let's talk. I heard that you brought a box of poisoned beef jerky, which made my sister sick and hospitalized, and you're not taking responsibility." I tried my best to explain, "No, brothers. Qiu Min ate it on her own initiative, and I had reminded them before I brought it back." They had a tough attitude. "Well, I don't care. Just tell me if the beef jerky is yours or not." I first nodded and then shook my head to deny. "Well, no. I didn't eat a single piece of that beef jerky. Qiu Min ate them all. How could it be mine?" One of the brothers grabbed my clothes and said loudly, "You're really good at making things up. You bought the beef jerky. If it's not yours, whose is it?" I was unconvinced and argued, "I didn't make it. Why should I pay?" As soon as I finished speaking, a loud slap landed on my face, and my right cheek immediately felt a burning pain. I covered my face and cried, and my anger instantly turned into hatred. I pretended to be weak to deceive them. "It's not manly for so many of you to bully a girl." They continued to pester. "What's the use of looking for them? Who knows if they've been bribed by you?" I had to give in first. "Fine, I promise you. As long as you let me go, I'll go back and get the money now." They were overjoyed and became complacent after hearing this. Little did they know that this was exactly my first revenge plan. I led them back home, grabbed the bank card, and made a beeline for the local bank to withdraw 5,000 yuan, because only with 5,000 yuan could the case be filed. The 3 youths were clueless and still audibly complained, "Damn it, just this little? Weren't we told there was money in the card?" Worried about arousing their suspicion, I immediately explained, "It's too late today. I'm afraid of getting robbed. Aren't you scared?" I thoughtfully considered their feelings on my own initiative, and they really fell for it. But actually secretly, when I went home to get the card just now, I had already composed an alarm text message and sent it out. Calculating the time, the police should be arriving soon. I must do my best to hold them off. Seeing that they were still uneasy, I soothed them again. "Tomorrow, when the bank opens tomorrow morning, I'll withdraw all the money at once. Then you can bring a sack and carry it all back together." "Hey, great." The few hot-headed youths' eyes lit up at the mention of money, and they laughed heartily, completely unaware that danger was approaching. The eldest, who was the leader, said, "Damn, I didn't expect this little sister to be so capable. Making money by faking an accident is so easy. We can get so much money." Realizing his slip-up, the 2 beside him immediately stopped him. "Boss, be careful what you say. We're worried about spilling the beans. Don't show off your wealth." They exchanged a knowing look with each other. Realizing he had spoken wrongly, he slapped his own head and then his mouth twice. "Look at my stupid brain. Sister, don't take it to heart, okay?" He turned to look at me, with an awkward and impolite smile, as if both reminding and warning me. I smiled but remained silent. Those who are arrogant will surely meet with misfortune, just as heaven's arrogance brings disaster. Let them be complacent for a short while. Anyway, they won't have another chance in the future. They didn't catch a glimpse of the expression on my face at all. When turning around, the leader said nonchalantly and arrogantly again, "What are we afraid of? What can a little girl like her do to us? There are 3 of us. Look, isn't she?" Obediently handing over the money as we asked. He proudly showed the results to his 2 brothers while slapping the banknotes in his hand. The 2 brothers held their foreheads and stopped talking, looking as if they were speechless at him. After that, one of them suggested, "Come on, let's go to the hospital now and tell the little sister this good news." They looked back at me with smug expressions. "Thank you, rich lady. Take your time. We need to rush to the hospital, so we won't see you home. Be careful on your own." With that, they turned around and left. Just as they stepped down the bank steps, and before they could get in the car, the police siren wailed in the night. I finally saw hope. The police officers had arrived. As soon as they saw the police officers, they panicked. They looked at each other, dumbfounded, not knowing how to react for a moment, as if they were frozen. I rushed towards the police officers like I had seen a light. "Who called the police?" the police officer asked in a warm voice. I replied softly, It's me. The three of them took off running when they saw the police, but ultimately they couldn't outrun the police officers and were caught. "Are you three the ones extorting money?" At first, they didn't admit it until I took out the recording and reported them. "Officer, it's them. They threatened me to take out money, saying that if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to go home." Outrageous. In this society ruled by law, you still dare to be so arrogant. "Take them away," the leading police officer said angrily. With a shout from the leading police officer, 6 officers escorted them back to the police station. I also went back to make a statement. On the way, they cursed me as they walked. "You damned woman, you actually dared to set us up. When I get out, I'll fucking kill you." Their furious and frustrated expressions for not getting the money looked ridiculous to me. Were they throwing a tantrum out of humiliation? But in front of the police officer, I still restrained myself a bit. I quickly reacted and put on a pitiful expression. "Officer, they're threatening me." The police officer glanced at me and then immediately scolded the 3 hooligans. "Behave yourself. Sit up straight. You're adults now. If you dare to break the law knowingly again, worry about spending your whole life in prison and never getting out." After the police officer's earnest admonition, they finally shut up. Seeing them being put in their place, I felt a bit more comfortable for a while. But right now there was still a big problem. Qiu Min couldn't be ignored either. I had now caused her brothers to be imprisoned. She definitely wouldn't let it go. I was ready at any time to fight her with 2-pronged strategies. When we arrived at the police station, and I made a statement, her 3 brothers were successfully sentenced. The immediate big problem was finally resolved. I could relax a bit, but the news that her 3 brothers had been arrested still leaked out. When Qiu Min learned of this news from the hospital, she immediately became extremely agitated. She pulled out the 4-tube and rushed back to the dormitory like a madwoman, with great momentum. She started smashing and throwing things at my bedside. "Damn it, you bitch. You made me end up in the hospital, and you even dared to plot against my 3 brothers. I, Qiu Min, swear here today that I will never make peace with you." The surrounding classmates were frightened by her crazy actions and hurriedly backed out of the dormitory. Only I, without the slightest fear of her making a fuss, went up and gave her 2 slaps. "What are you going crazy for? You sent your 3 brothers to extort money. You tried to steal a chicken, but ended up losing a handful of rice. You didn't get the money and got yourself into trouble instead. What are you being so mean for?" She covered her face and stared at me blankly, as if she hadn't expected me to hit her. She just kept glaring at me with her swollen eyes. "Ren Yan, you dared to hit me. I won't let you get away with this." With that, she started fighting with me in the dormitory. We pulled each other's hair and tore each other's clothes, and the fight was intense. Finally, the dormitory supervisor came, and we stopped fighting. "Why are you fighting?" the dormitory supervisor asked us. We were both disheveled and angry, remaining silent. Finally, the dormitory supervisor reported it to the class teacher. The class teacher looked at us angrily. Qiu Min pointed at me and accused me first. "It's her, Ren Yan. She brought a box of poisoned beef jerky and made me end up in the hospital. She also got my 3 brothers sent to prison. Tell me, if I don't beat her, am I still human?" I retorted. "If your 3 brothers hadn't come to extort me, would I have the supernatural power to get them sent to prison? It's all their own doing. It's you, you evil woman. You framed us." We started arguing again in front of the class teacher. The class teacher took out a ruler and knocked on the table to stop us from talking. "Be quiet. Pay attention to your image. Solve the problem if there is one. Don't bring personal emotions. With the teacher here, is there any problem that can't be solved?" I already know clearly about the beef jerky incident involving Ren Yan and have made inquiries. Didn't you 2 talk about it last time? At that time, we also asked the surrounding classmates and conducted an investigation. The facts prove that the beef jerky Ren Yan brought was fine. "Qiu Min, why are you still holding on to this?" After hearing the class teacher's words, Qiu Min wasn't satisfied. She thought the class teacher was deliberately shielding me. She implied both explicitly and implicitly that the class teacher must have taken my benefits. So she was speaking up for me. This made the atmosphere in the entire office more and more tense. She insisted firmly. How can there be no problem? I ate it and got allergic, and ended up in the hospital. Isn't this a big deal? I strongly demand that the school deal with this matter and expel Ren Yan. Hearing this, both the class teacher and I were greatly surprised. The class teacher didn't expect this Qiu Min to be so difficult to deal with. I also didn't expect Qiu Min, besides being gluttonous, to be so inhumane and shameless. Her making such a big scene not only affected me personally, but also the school's image. The class teacher also began to dislike her. Finally, the class teacher had to resort to laws and regulations to solve the problem. Sorry Qiu Min, the school can't meet this request of yours. The principal and we have all verified that the beef jerky Ren Yan brought was indeed fine, and she has no personal fault. So we don't adopt the suggestion you put forward. If you insist on making trouble, I suggest you produce evidence and go through the legal process. The school is not a tool for you to act violently and pester others. With that, the class teacher's words immediately triggered a strong reaction from Qiu Min. She started speaking without thinking, launching a non-discriminatory attack. Teacher, I was hospitalized. How can you still be talking nonsense with your eyes open? Why are you helping Lin Yin so much? Do you have a crush on her family's money? Are you vain? Did she give you money? Come on, how much did she give you? She was aggressive and sharp-tongued, taking pictures with her phone as she spoke, and even shoving the phone in the class teacher's face. The class teacher could no longer control her temper, and suddenly exploded. I don't want to pester with you. Delete the video and get out. Do you hear me? A classmate like you really should drop out of school, and let your parents discipline you properly at home. Don't come and cause harm to society. After that, Qiu Min became indignant. She was angry and argued forcefully. She directly retorted. The one who should drop out of school is Ren Yan. You have no sense of propriety, you favor the evildoer, and you help the wicked. Neither you nor Ren Yan will end well. You wait. I'll post this video now and tear off your mask. Let everyone judge. Hearing this, the class teacher was so angry that she almost fainted, holding her forehead. I comforted the class teacher. Class teacher, don't worry. Justice will prevail. We will definitely win this public opinion storm. I have evidence of her misdeeds. After hearing this, the class teacher felt relieved. Finally, I apologized to the class teacher. Because of my matter implicating her, I felt a bit guilty. I'm sorry, class teacher. I got you involved. The class teacher waved her hand and said it was okay, telling me to be careful myself. If I really couldn't solve the problem, I could come to her again or ask my parents to come back and handle it. I said with confidence, class teacher, don't worry. I know what I'm doing, and how to protect myself. The good show is about to begin. I'll let her know what it means to lift a rock, only to drop it on her own foot. I looked angrily at Qiu Min's back. Since she had no shame, why should I show her any courtesy? After leaving the class teacher's office, there was a hubbub of taunts outside. There were two polarizing views. One wave thought Qiu Min was shameless and trying to extort money. The other wave thought Qiu Min was right. Since she had a problem after eating my beef jerky, I should compensate. For this, I also bravely stood up and responded. Whoever dares to gossip behind my back again, the same thing will happen to them as to her. I'll sue you all together. To avoid trouble, they all shut up. Among them, there were also some who were on good terms with Qiu Min and didn't distinguish right from wrong. They came up to slander me. Oh, so this is the rich and venomous scorpion that our Minmin talked about. Come on, what did you put in the beef jerky to make our Minmin end up in the hospital? I suddenly lost my temper and couldn't control myself. Immediately, I launched into a tirade of abuse. Shut your mouth. Stop framing me here. If you dare to talk nonsense with Qiu Min again, be careful, I'll sue you too. She listened with a look of complete disdain. Oh, I'm so scared. Just having a bit of stinking money. What's so great about it? The court isn't run by your family. Can you sue just whenever you want? Could it be that your mother also has an affair with the court president? Her tone was scornful and her words were flippant. I didn't bother wasting words with her and directly kicked her to the ground. Damn it. It seems you, just like that woman Qiu Min, are no good. I also wish that you'll soon eat someone else's beef jerky and get an allergy. If you have the guts, come extort me too. What did you say, you bitch? She got up from the ground indignantly, still wanting to fight back. I directly rotated my arm to loosen my muscles. They were so scared that they didn't dare to move. I forgot to tell them that I'm an 8th Dan in Taekwondo, and about to be promoted to 9th Dan. These few greenhorn girls didn't know what was good for them. After I showed a standard move, no one dared to come forward anymore. I directly declared, next time, if you dare to talk nonsense and act mean in front of me, I'll directly tear your mouths apart. They obediently nodded repeatedly. We won't dare, we won't dare. After dealing with them, I directly went to the dormitory to find Qiu Min. She was editing a video. The video had already been exaggerated by her and posted. Once it was released, public opinion was slowly fermenting. Netizens, without distinguishing right from wrong, fun attacked me and the class teacher. Some of the insults were extremely harsh. When Qiu Min saw me come in, she triumphantly raised her eyebrows at me and said, "Just wait. At first, you didn't want to pay 2 million. Now, even if you pay 20 million, this matter can't be settled privately." She was full of confidence, thinking that I would beg her. Unexpectedly, I just replied, "As you wish. Dig your own grave. I won't stop you." Her face showed confusion at my words. She kept pestering me all the way, asking me what I meant. I didn't tell her, which made her even more crazy. She shouted in frustration, "Run Yen, show me all your tricks. I'm not afraid of you." I retorted, "Really not afraid? Then why are you pestering me if you're not afraid?" She became even more ashamed and angry. My words made her both angry and impatient. She immediately swore that she would ruin my reputation and make me the laughingstock of the whole city. I smiled calmly without fear. After all, what was there to be afraid of when dealing with a clown? This incident had a huge impact and wide implications. Soon it also attracted reports from the news media. Some media reporters came to the school to interview Qiu Min. Qiu Min made a big publicity, saying that I was heartless despite being rich, bullying the weak. Not only did I give her moldy beef jerky to eat, which made her allergic, but I also used money to get through all levels of relations and send her 3 brothers to prison. For a while, public indignation was aroused, and everyone was vehemently accusing me of being inhumane. I instantly became a guojilaosu, reviled by thousands. The news media also vied to report, saying that I was vicious-hearted at a young age, doing whatever I wanted in school relying on my parents' wealth, and that I was the second demon child, etc. The public also jointly filed a complaint, forcing the school to expel me. In response, I just sneered. I indifferently let Qiu Min continue. Qiu Min, of course, wouldn't let me go. This was exactly the result I wanted. They all said I was crazy, but they didn't know that the greater the public opinion, the more beneficial it was for me. When Qiu Min capsized in the future, she would fall even harder. I pretended to be nonchalant and stayed in school for 3 days. Now, even all the students in the school jointly resisted me and asked the school to expel me. They threw rotten leaves on my head. They ambushed me on the way I passed. They also put cockroaches and bugs in my school bag. I cleaned them all up one by one, without getting angry, because I knew that the more they unleashed their dark humanity, the more painful it would be when they were slapped in the face. Until the 4th day, the situation was developing more and more seriously and getting out of control. The school really stepped in to expel me. Only then did I contact the media reporters and take the initiative to break the news and called for a press conference. This time, I wanted everyone in the whole city to know. Qiu Min was the real Wajilaosu. Qiu Min saw that I was down these few days and was enjoying my downfall. Little did she know that it would soon be her turn. When she saw that I was holding a press conference, she publicly attacked me. Oh, this is really shameless. Her mother opened the door for shamelessness. She's extremely shameless. She made others eat poisoned beef jerky, framed others' brothers and sent them to prison, and still has the nerve to take the initiative to hold a press conference. If I were you, I would find a crack in the ground and crawl in. Her close-knit sisters also made sarcastic remarks. Yes, so shameless. I'm ashamed to be her classmate. Because they had been humiliated by me that day, none of them wished me well. They all hoped that I would drop out of school and leave the school as soon as possible. However, I'm just born rebellious. The more others don't wish me well, the more I have to live well. Fortunately, I accidentally recorded a live stream that day. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to clear my name even if I jumped into the Yellow River. That day, while I was out going to the bathroom, Qiu Min deliberately caused trouble and provocatively ate my beef jerky. After I came back, before I could hold her accountable, she took the initiative and lay on the ground, asking me to call 120. I remembered that classic saying, "If you didn't hit it, why would you help?" So I didn't pay attention to her and walked straight to the bed to get my phone. I usually have the habit of recording with my phone. After that, I would process it and add various sound effects. Coincidentally, the phone was on that day and was exactly facing Qiu Min and the others, and it was a silent live stream. In this way, every move of Qiu Min and the others was recorded. It was really heaven sent. Fortunately, Qiu Min and the others didn't notice, and this video was completely preserved. After that, I didn't tell anyone and made a backup, just in case Qiu Min caused trouble. Unexpectedly, it really came in handy now. Seeing Qiu Min vehemently slandering me, I immediately took out my phone and played the video. The video was playing the process of me persuading her at that time, while she didn't listen, rolled her eyes to the sky, and arrogantly stole and ate my beef jerky, as well as their discussion on how to frame me. In the video, her cronies also snatched her beef jerky, but it could be seen from the video that she ate it on purpose. Although there was no sound in the video, the picture and the angle were very clear, and every move clearly showed that she was deliberately faking an accident. I directly held the phone up to her face. She was left speechless. You like to wrong people so much, don't you? Do you also want to go to prison to accompany your 3 brothers? She was stunned when she saw the video. When she realized it later and reacted, she remembered to reach out and grab my phone. She deliberately confused the public. Where did you get this video? Is it photoshopped? Is it artificially synthesized? She started to panic. I smiled calmly. Of course not. If you don't believe it, invite a professional to appraise it. You were so arrogant just now, weren't you? This time, you've damaged my reputation and brought great losses to my mental state and life. I won't let you off easily. The video has been backed up, and a copy has been submitted to the court. We'll see you in court tomorrow. No, this isn't true. You bitch, you've set me up again. She was so anxious that she was going crazy. I sneered and publicly questioned her. Set you up? Which step here was my setup? Was it my setup that you took without permission and stole my beef jerky to eat? Was it my setup that I clearly warned you that you were allergic to beef jerky, but you still ate it, got sick and were hospitalized, and then called your 3 brothers to extort me? Or was it my setup that you failed to extort me, and I managed to escape by chance? This kind of thing isn't the first time you've done it, is it? My continuous baiting made her extremely angry. The way she wanted to get angry, but held it back was so funny to me. You're talking nonsense. Her 2 eyes were wide open, as if she wanted to eat me. However, now that I was in the right and the public sentiment was gradually turning in my favor, I wasn't afraid at all. Qiu Min, just wait obediently to receive my punishment. This time, it won't be as simple as just crying a few times and apologizing. Seeing that she could no longer refute, I gradually wrapped things up. Everyone, we'll see you in court tomorrow. I won't let her and her few friends off. My family's legal counsel will come to talk to them in person tomorrow. When someone below had a bout of excessive kindness, and wanted to say that one should be lenient when possible, I immediately gave a fierce look. What? Do you want to try it too? So what if I'm now bullying others with my power? That person lowered their head, and didn't dare to say more. There was a deathly silence all around. No one dared to stand up and say a single word against me. I quietly withdrew from the crowd. These few days, for the sake of safety, I moved back home. And I took a few days off to deal with this matter specifically. However, Qiu Min was afraid. She sent me a message late at night to apologize, crying and begging for mercy. I'm sorry, Ren Yan. I was wrong. I really never expected your family to have such extensive influence. Please be magnanimous and spare US common folks. I really won't dare to do it again next time. Look how calculating her apology was. A person who wasn't careful would be tricked by her again. I directly lashed out crudely. You're crazy. Even if you cry yourself to death today, you have to crawl to the court tomorrow. Then I turned off my phone. Just thinking about it made me happy. I guess she must be going crazy on the other side. The next day, the court session began. Qiu Min and her friends were all summoned to the courtroom. Facing my irrefutable evidence, they were defeated step by step. Qiu Min knelt down in court and begged me, but I knew this was her usual trick of moral blackmail. I remained silent and let my family's lawyer handle it. In the end, her scheme failed, and she angrily threatened me in public. Ren Yan, I'll haunt you as a ghost in this lifetime. I'll never stop fighting you. I stuck out my tongue and rolled my eyes. Then wait until you get out. The amount of money she extorted by faking an accident was large. The court had long sentenced her to 10 years in prison. That meant she wouldn't even be able to graduate from university before going to prison, and there would be a final judgment stain on her record. Most importantly, I also applied to the court for her to compensate me for 100,000 yuan in reputation damage and mental distress. And this was exactly what she didn't have. Her parents were so worried that they almost fainted. Yes, her parents were also present today, listening to the entire court session. The 2 elderly people lived frugally to send their 4 children to university. But Qiu Min was the most disappointing one. After the court session, I saw her parents beating her. How could you be so disappointing? How did your parents teach you usually? Who told you to be so spineless and try to get something for nothing? Now all 4 of you siblings are in trouble. What are your father and I supposed to do? Her parents sat by the roadside, crying and scolding Qiu Min, attracting a lot of attention. Suddenly her mother, with sharp eyes, saw me and was about to come over and kowtow to beg for mercy. My dear girl, I beg you, have mercy on a parent's heart. Please spare my daughter this time. I'll kowtow to you. Her father also knelt down and pulled Qiu Min. But Qiu Min was still stubborn and refused to lower her head. Her father slapped her hard. Quickly kneel down to your classmate and beg her to spare you and your brothers. It doesn't matter if you go in, but don't implicate your brothers. If it weren't for you, you dead girl, calling and telling your brothers about this, your 3 brothers wouldn't have gotten into trouble. You're a jinx. It turned out that her father was patriarchal. It was obvious that Qiu Min was feeling terrible at the moment, but I didn't feel sorry for her. She brought it on herself. I quietly watched their family's performance, with no emotion on my face. Her father, seeing that I didn't speak, thought it was because Qiu Min refused to kneel, and continued to force her. Kneel down. Qiu Min cried in shame. I had never seen her cry so loudly. I never thought that such a vicious person could cry so sadly. Before she could kneel properly, another slap from her father came. You still have the nerve to cry. I tell you, if you can't get your 3 brothers back, I won't recognize you as my daughter in the future, and you won't be allowed to enter this house. Qiu Min looked at me with hatred in her eyes. You're the one who made me like this. Are you satisfied now? I sneered. You brought this on yourself. What does it have to do with me? Forget it. I don't want to waste words with you. I'm waiting for the good news of your imprisonment. Then I left resolutely, ignoring the pleas of her parents. The sound of her parents scolding and beating her kept coming from behind. You jinx. What's wrong with you being submissive to your classmate? Do you want to kill your 3 brothers? How could we have given birth to such a jinx like you? The sound gradually faded away, and the foul language disappeared completely. My world finally in peace. The next day, she came to school to apply for withdrawal, and was then taken to prison. From then on, no one gossiped in my ear anymore. Our fates and distances were drawn apart from then on. A year later, I graduated successfully, and followed my parents to work abroad. She and her 3 brothers were still in prison. Her parents asked someone to find me again, and called me long distance, hoping that I could write a letter of understanding to forgive them, and try to get them out early. I only said one sentence. I have no right to interfere in others' fates. Moreover, it was the path she chose herself. If everyone were like her, the world would be in chaos. I won't have pity on those who bring about their own downfall. Her parents said with tears in their eyes. All right. From then on, her family never bothered me again. I lived a quiet and comfortable life with my parents abroad. 10 years later, we returned to the country. We founded our own company and established our own brand. I applied all the knowledge I had learned to my work. Before long, the company gradually established a foothold in the country. Later, it was successfully listed. Soon after, her parents and brothers came to my company. I thought they were here to cause trouble again. Unexpectedly, they came to apply for jobs. I put aside past grudges and accepted her parents. But I absolutely couldn't forgive her 3 brothers. I would never take risks. And I would never forgive someone who had once hurt me to be in the same place as me. Later, her parents worked in the company for a while. Their performance was okay, and they didn't play any underhanded tricks. I even promoted them and gave them a raise, making them regular employees of the company. They were very grateful to me and apologized to me on behalf of Qiu Min. I said I wouldn't hold grudges, but I would never tolerate anyone trying to obtain illegal benefits from me. They nodded in shame. From then on, our 2 families got along peacefully. As their boss, I often paid attention to her parents. They also respected me and worked with peace of mind. In this way, we got along without any conflicts for decades, until Qiu Min got out. When she saw her parents getting along harmoniously with me, she blew her top. Are you 2 old fools, working under the hands of your enemy? Her parents, without the spirit of their youth, blushed and remained silent. I didn't want to make them feel awkward, so I compensated them with triple their salary, and took the opportunity to fire them. In fact, not to mention Qiu Min, just thinking about working with the parents of a former hostile roommate made me feel uncomfortable. I had to pay attention to them, and be on guard against them every day. It was too tiring. It was better to let them go and set each other free. From today on, after firing her parents, I have nothing to do with their family anymore. However, her parents were very angry because they lost their jobs. I heard that Qiu Min was beaten again and driven out. Now she is homeless, wandering around. Fate, this is all fate. She deserved it. This is all her retribution. Who asked her to offend me, a living devil? The end of the full text.